All right, Cleveland has a shot, as I just mentioned, at the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
So here's the path. They're fighting for the number 1 overall pick with New England, who has to beat Buffalo.
Yeah.
And Buffalo's
nothing to play for.
Nothing to play for.
Yeah.
They're going to rest their starters.
Josh Allen is going to play the first quarter.
I heard he might play a series. I didn't hear the first quarter.
I just saw that. I saw
because he wants to keep his streak alive.
Yeah.
So the expectation was he would play the first series so he can keep his game started streak alive,
right,
and then sit.
Yeah.
I didn't hear first quarter.
I just saw expected to play early. So
I think that's going to be the first series, and then he's going to be done. The idea here is Mayo's probably could be coaching for his job. There's rumblings that maybe they might be interested in bringing Mike Vrabel back. And then Tennessee has to beat Houston, but Houston is resting all of its starters.
In fact, Tennessee's favored.
Tennessee's favored. So there is a real path to the Browns getting the number 1 overall pick.
Yes.
Put a percentage chance on that happening.
I went with 25 because I think even though you can talk yourself into New England beating Buffalo's backups and Tennessee beating Houston's backups, those guys are ahead of the Browns for a reason. It's a 3-13 team across the board, same with the Browns, and they all know what's at stake. It's not like we're the only city, oh, look at our path to the number 1 draft pick.
Sure. They're doing the same thing.
They're doing the same thing, and I think the Browns losing to Baltimore is the most likely and most certain of the 3 scenarios.
I agree. That's a lock.
But for the other 2 things to both happen, knowing the consequences of you have a shot to lose on the first overall pick.
Yeah, but the players don't care about that. The players want to win.
I'm just saying.
We saw the Giants
25%.
last week played hard to
I didn't
win.
say 0. I said 25.
Yeah, no, it's just like a parlay. I would agree with you. It's probably 20 to 25% chance that it hits.
Yeah.
You're playing a 3-game parlay. The Browns are your lock.
The Browns are like
losing,
95%.
That is a lock. The Browns are finishing 3-14.
Yes.
The only question here is, you mentioned that the players don't care about the draft picks, and for the most part, they don't. But I do think we're going to find out in New England how much they like Mayo. Do the players love him? Are they willing to go out there and win one for the Gipper so he can keep his job?
Yeah.
Because there's now in Tennessee they're not going to fire a first-year coach, so that's not at play.
Yeah.
Well,
but
Mayo's a first-year coach too.
I know he is, but that's rare that happens.
Yeah.
It's happening in New England because it's been abysmal. In Tennessee, I think a lot of this went sideways because they just took the wrong guy at quarterback. They just that's a mess. But I can't imagine that Tennessee is. I haven't heard any rumblings whatsoever.
Yeah.
That Callahan's.
I think it's ridiculous to fire a coach after 1 year.
I do too, and I don't think New England will end up doing it. But the fact that there's talk about it, the players hear that. That could be motivation for them to go out and beat a Buffalo team that is going to be mailing it in with backups. So
I'm going to give New England a 35% chance to win.
Okay.
And I'm going to give Tennessee a 50% chance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So whatever that adds up to, I think the Browns have a 95% chance of losing. I think about 25%. Yeah.
25.
I'm most worried about New England.
Yeah, because Mitch Trubisky, when he's gotten in these Week 18 starts, has played pretty well, and a lot of the guys.
That's right. Who's starting for Houston?
Houston.
So
they have a veteran backup, if I'm not mistaken.
Davis Mills?
Yeah, I think it is Mills. He's been there forever.
Yeah, well.
Texans starting quarterback.
Yeah, it is probably Mills. They had somebody. Didn't they have Case Keenum there at one point? Or am I making
Not
that
anymore,
up?
I don't think.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It is Davis Mills.
I think the fact of the matter is there's a chance that the Browns end up with the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
A place that they're very familiar. The big question is, even if they end up with that number 1 pick,
do you go quarterback?
I don't think they take it. I think they trade down.
Absolutely.
And give it to a team that wants to take a chance on one of these 2 quarterbacks, which most of the experts agree are anything but a sure thing.
But if they trade down, don't trade down too far.
Get capital.
Stay in the top 10.
Get a lot of picks. Yeah. Stay in the top 10. But get multiple picks.
Right.
Get a first, get a second.
Get a first for next year.
Get a first for next year. Get whatever you can get.
That's more
next year, where in theory Arch Manning might be, who knows.
Now, it would be just like the Browns to get the number 1 pick in a year you don't want the number 1 pick. You want the number 1 pick when Joe Burrow's coming out.
Yeah.
You don't want the number 1 pick when it's between Sanders and look, what happened in Miami with opting out of the second half, that's going to create all kinds of questions.
I don't think
for him.
I don't think so.
I think it does. I think it does.
I don't know why he played in the first place.
I don't either. But if you're not going to play, don't play. But don't decide at halftime, I'm going to walk away from my teammates. Bad luck.